Hello and welcome to Seismic Cinema. Grab your clapperboard, put your feet up on your director's chair, and watch this disaster of a director's cut for how many ever minutes we decide to string this out for. And I know it's a bit weird. This is Paul doing the intro because Colin's brain is a bit scrambled with our impromptu top 10 that we're doing here, ranking. But anyway, Colin, how you doing, sir?
I'm also just plugging my laptop in, so it's continuous charge.
Well, that's a good start to the podcast.
Yes, sorry. We've got a new intro, not a new intro, a new bio. So it basically reads something like, Colin's probably not seen it, as in me, and Paul has probably watched it in the wrong order. And also, we believe in the power of escapism.
Yep, that doesn't actually answer my question. How you doing, Colin?
Yeah, we're right, yeah. Just fighting some wires. My desk's a bit busy tonight.
Yeah. And as you can tell by our wee names today, Colin is our friend Neil Boyle, who we did.
I forgot I said it as a.
He's our director friend. He did one of our very first kind of podcast interviews with. And yeah, we're doing a wee cheeky top 10 directors this week. It's been a bit of a crazy week. We actually planned to record Scream 6 and Creed 3 tonight and then kind of release them over the next couple of weeks. And I didn't get to see either because of just a lot of Lemony Snicket. Just couldn't get to it.
I get the reference.
Hopefully somebody does. And you've seen Scream 6, even though you've seen like only Scream 1, which is astounding, but you know, love it. And yeah, you never got to see Creed. Was that right?
I didn't go in the end. No.
Yeah. But I'm proud of you because that's part of your Twitter bio, like you're saying, seeing things in the wrong order. So you're taking my mantle this week.
Yeah.
And I'm taking your mantle because I'm not seeing it.
Aye, I know. Well, we'll get there. Definitely catch Creed at some point. So just before I forget, which I probably will, you should make sure you subscribe and share our YouTube channel and that you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all these other podcast stations, and that you go on and you buy us a coffee so I can get a nice fancy headphones and mic like Paul.
I know. I might sound good, but what comes out my mouth isn't that good.
Well, it's time to get on to our favourite segment of, although you spoil it a wee bit with your intro, of what are we watching.
What do you mean I spoiled it with my intro?
You already told everyone that I'd seen Scream 6.
All right, aye, my bad. Sorry. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at starting off. I've never. When was the last time I started off the podcast? This is like scary territory for me.
Yes, I know. But anyway, what have you? I know you've failed to see Scream 6 and Creed 3, but have you been checking out anything in the house?
The only things I've really been watching was I caught the new episode of Bad Batch last night. 20 minutes of my life wasted.
I've not watched it yet.
So-
Don't ruin it for me.
All right, but 20 minutes of your life wasted enough, don't worry. And I caught the Luther movie. It's on Netflix, Luther, Fallen Sun. And it's actually pretty good.
I've not actually watched Luther yet, but it's on my list of things to watch. I assume I have to watch the show before the film.
You know what? I think you probably get away with it. Just assume Luther is a bit of a kind of vigilante when it comes to crime. And then you can kind of start off from there.
I probably will watch the series though, and then watch it.
The series is good. It's got some like really good characters, and some of the bad guys are like really sadistic. But it's a good show. I've not seen the final season, and I was a bit worried that the movie might carry on from the series, and I wouldn't be able to pick it up. But no, I picked up pretty easy. You didn't need to know what happened in the TV series to follow the movie, and it's got some good characters in it as well. Our boy, what's his face? Andy Serkis, isn't it? good old Kino Loy. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was a bit worried because like movies that the BBC make, I'm usually like, this isn't going to be good, but it's actually pretty decent. And Scarlett found out that Idris Elba does music as well, because he does the music in the end credits.
Right.
And then that was actually just YouTube and Idris Elba singing. He does like rap songs with like Macklemore, runs with Sean Paul and stuff. So it's actually quite a good singer. So check that out.
I didn't actually know that. Luther's one of those shows I've known about for a while, but I just never got around to watching. But I've added it. That and Last of Us are two things I want to check out soon.
Nice.
Well, I've seen the first episode and a bit of Last of Us.
Oh yeah, I watched The Last of Us actually. That's what I was going to say. I forgot about that. I watched the series finale on Sunday, and it was pretty decent. It was just really weird. I thought it was really short when I watched it, and then it turns out it's like the shortest episode of the series so far, and it is a bit strange for a finale to be so short. But yeah, it was good.
Cool. So I've not watched Bad Batch yet, which I mentioned, although you've put me off it. I watched Mandalorian last night. Bit of a different one. I wouldn't say bad. I would say it's just a bit of a different vibe. Do you know? Have you heard much about it?
Not anything at all. So right, don't say it. Otherwise, you're going to karate chop the neck.
All I'll say is, don't go in expecting it to be wholly like a normal Mandalorian episode. That's all I'm going to say.
This sounds like some Book of Boba Fett vibes, where it's just completely not Book of Boba Fett.
Not as bad as that, but
interesting.
I wouldn't say anything else, but let me know once you've watched it. I obviously watched Scream last weekend ahead of watching Scream 6 on Monday, and I quite often get a bit dozy when I'm watching things, but that didn't happen once. When I saw Scream 6, like, I was kind of hooked to the whole film, and I'm quite a dozy person, so.
Dozy or dopey?
Dozy and dopey. No, I really enjoyed it. I had an issue with it, which I'll discuss with you once you've watched it, but I think it might be a bit of a horror movie trope that isn't really a specific thing.
Was it Ghostface kept falling over again?
No. Can I say, or?
No, don't you dare.
Okay, I won't say anything then. What else have I watched? The only other thing I've really been watching is I did plan to watch the kind of Mandalorian themed episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels, but I've not actually got around to that yet. What I posted about it on Twitter the other day is I'm really into the Traitors US, the BBC iPlayer like murder mystery game show.
I was going to say it's a game. I thought it was a TV series, but it's a game show.
It's so fun. Like I watched the US one first for some reason, but I'm going to go and watch the UK one as well. Do you know the premise of it?
I think I seen a wee short trailer where it was just people had to guess who the traitors were.
To give you the long and short of it, you know I'm a big fan of like murder mystery, yeah. So that enticed me. So basically, there's like however many people at the start. They choose 3 of them to be traitors.
Right.
And each day they do like some kind of activity where they have to try and raise money to go into like a prize pot. At the end of the show, if there's a traitor left, they take the whole prize pot. But if the traitors are gone, the faithfuls, which they call them, share the rest of it. And each night the traitors meet up in like a tower with like black hoods on, and they have to decide
for the greater good.
Yeah, basically, and they have to decide who they're going to murder. And then the next day after the kind of activity, they all vote at like a table to decide who they think's the traitor, and they're like trying to vote them out. But
they don't all stay. They'll stay together like a reality show. It's like, or do they stay together? Because we don't know. It's like the same 3 people disappearing all the time.
No, because they all go to bed, and then it cuts to the traitors in the tower.
Oh, they all separate rooms and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right.
It's really like addictive, like because the traitors are obviously trying not to be caught, so their kills are very calculated in terms of like sometimes they keep people around that are that people might think are the traitors, and they might just kill like random people, that kind of thing. Anyway, I went on for too long, but basically I've watched the first 7 episodes of it since last weekend, and I'm really hooked on it. I'd recommend giving it a watch.
Yeah, it does sound kind of up my alley. I do like a wee bit of Cloak and Dagger.
It's it'll either be for you or not for you, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
A bit Marmite.
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably about it, to be honest. And I've spent the last hour writing down loads of names of directors and trying to narrow that down.
Yeah. To be honest, this was really hard. Like,
I'm really sad about some of the ones I've left out as well.
I know. To be fair, that's the thing. These rankings, like, see if it was a top like 50, you could probably still do that, no bother, and still have people missing, and you want to fill them in. But yeah, I had the difficult task of putting a top 10.
Oh, we forgot our disclaimer. This isn't the top 10 best directors of all time. This is our top 10 favorites based on like films and TV shows that we like.
Yeah, is it TV shows as well?
People do both.
Right. Okay.
Like, I've got some that are in it for a mixture of their TV work and film work, but
okay. Yeah, I think a couple of mine do too as well, but I didn't check your TV stuff. I just did their movie stuff.
They're all directors at the end of the day, so
yeah.
Hey, Paul, here's your cut. Right, it's been a while since we've done it. Well, I suppose we did it for The Mandalorian, but that was top 5 and we had a guest. So this is the first top 10 we've done, just the two of us in quite a while.
I know. Remember the days we used to do, what is it, a movie on a Tuesday and a Franken on a Thursday, or vice versa? I mean, we got too old and tired and decided to do one a week.
That sounds absolutely knackered now, doesn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. Bugger try to edit that now.
Right. You go first. You talk first. I talk first.
Ladies first. You first.
Right. So this is the one, my number 10. This is the one I couldn't remember if they'd done something controversial. I don't think it is. I think it's a different person. You'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong. So credits for this person include the Kingsman movies, which I'm a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men First Class, which I thought was a First Class reboot, prequel. And also I saw on the IMDb Kick-Ass, which was another film that we really enjoyed growing up. So this one was a kind of comic booky director. I went for Matthew Vaughn.
God, I totally forgot he existed. So yeah, he'll be in my honourable mentions.
Is it not Bryan Singer? Was he not the one that did something?
Yes, Bryan Singer's a bad man. We don't talk about him.
So it's not Matthew Vaughn. That's fine.
No, I think he's one of the good guys.
So what do you think of my choice?
I like Matthew Vaughn's movies. The only one of those movies you said I didn't like was, did you say he did The King's Man?
No, he did the first Kingsman movie. I don't know if he did the second one. He definitely did the first one.
I think he did the third one too, like the prequel.
Well,
and
the first
it was
one,
god awful.
I didn't enjoy it either, but we can agree the first one's really good.
Oh, the first one is brilliant. Eggsy, love Eggsy.
When I'm looking at that, I feel like Kick-Ass was one of those comic book movies, a wee bit like Scott Pilgrim, and Kingsman. I just love the style of the film and the action scenes and the kind of comic booky nature of it, because they would have like the speech bubbles, wouldn't they, and like the different sounds and everything like they would in the comic books.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Kingsman for a second there, and I was like, I don't remember speech bubbles in Kingsman.
Yes. So that was my number 10. Not maybe a most obvious one, but I actually looked back in my notebook at the shortlist for the movies and TV shows, and I saw what I'd written down for the movies, and then I was kind of looking up who directed the films I'd done, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
No problem.
Right, so you're number 10?
Hey, so fitting up my list is his credits include Snatch, The Gentleman, Sherlock Holmes. We have Guy Ritchie. Yeah, so I've got him as number 10, but there's like so many like that weren't on the list. Yeah, I think when you're watching a Guy Ritchie movie, you can just tell it's a Guy Ritchie movie just because of like the way they talk, the way the action unfolds, the kind of humour in it, and like Snatch. It's like one of my top films.
Still not seen it, Paul.
Sorry, you'll get there. You'll get there.
I wasn't buying because remember when we reviewed The Gentleman, which was actually our first ever live action podcast.
Oh, that's right, with Daniel, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's right, I forgot that. Yeah, The Gentleman, love The Gentleman, and like Sherlock Holmes as well. They're just really clever films.
Which Sherlock Holmes is that? Is that the one with Colin Farrell? No, is that a different one?
Colin Farrell? He's not Sherlock Holmes, is he?
No,
Robert Downey Jr.
Was it not him and Colin Farrell, or was it
Jude Law?
Jude Law, not Colin Farrell. No, they're both in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, so that's where I got confused.
Aye, 6 degrees of separation. Yeah, so like those movies, like even the action scenes in Sherlock Holmes, you can just tell like as soon as you see it, it's like Guy Ritchie directed this. There's always some sort of like twist with the Guy Ritchie movies, which I really like. So yeah, I went for him for number 10.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Gentleman, and his other movies keep popping up on streaming services, so I will need to check them out at some point.
Yeah, so Wrath of Man. You should watch Wrath of Man as well. He likes to work with Jason Statham quite a lot, so I'd check that out.
All right. Number 9. So my number 10. I get my numbers right. Was all about kind of comic book kind of movies. My number 9 is more of a kind of cozy vibe.
Cozy.
Credits include, actually, it's basically just films you would watch around Christmas time. So we've got the first 2 Harry Potter films. We've got the first 2 Home Alone films. And we've also got Mrs. Doubtfire. I went for Chris Columbus for number 9.
Ah, is that the guy that discovered America?
No, it's a different Chris Columbus. But I just think when I went through it, I was like, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is my favourite Harry Potter film, as revealed in our Harry Potter ranking. This is just going to be there's so many opportunities for plugs here. But yeah, I love the first 2 Harry Potter films, Home Alone and 1 and 2, which we also reviewed. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
The first one. Classics. I've not seen Mrs. Doubtfire in years, but obviously it's a really iconic number as well. So I just think I think he was just the guy, wasn't he, back in like the 90s, early 2000s, that was hired to do these big kind of family films, kind of Christmassy vibe films as well.
Yeah, that's right. Saying that, see, before you did your Harry Potter ranking, like I had no idea who directed them. I thought just all different directors.
He only directed the first 2, and then there was different directors that someday is it David Yates? Like somebody directed the last 4.
Yeah, okay. Who's directing the new one?
The new what?
Are they making a new Harry Potter film, like Cursed Child or something?
That's not been confirmed yet.
Is it not? Right, okay.
Those are rumours at this stage, I would say. So yeah, I went for Chris Columbus at number 9. I feel like every single festive period, someone will be watching a film directed by Chris Columbus. And I read that book that Tom Felton wrote, Draco, and it was quite interesting hearing like how good he was behind the scenes with all the child actors and stuff.
Nice. That's quite surprised he's so far down. It's your favourite Harry Potter film, so you must have quite a good list.
Yeah, I think it's decent. Yeah, maybe a few surprises here and there, but
yeah. Well, my number 9. I'll just say the movie. You'll just know straight away. So, Lord of the Rings.
Jackson.
Yeah.
You big Lord of the Rings guy?
I like Lord of the Rings.
I never really got into it. Still haven't really.
Yeah, I think it's good. Did we not watch the first Lord of the Rings there? Did my mum not take us like when we were like kids?
It rings a vague bell. Don't tell Vicky I didn't enjoy it.
Well, she paid a fiver for nothing then for just.
I remember going to see Phantom Menace though.
Aye, we went across the water for that, did we not?
Yeah.
Anyway, number 9, Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings. This was the first kind of movie, apart from like Star Wars, I remember watching and I was like blown away by just the visuals, like the big pitch battles, the big massive battles. But I think it takes a really good skill to direct a movie where there's such large scales of action, plus having like really personable characters and like giving them scenes where you can actually like care about them, get to know them, kind of thing. I remember Lord of the Rings, just like there'd be so many characters. Sean Bean dying as usual. It was just yeah. And Peter Jackson's probably, you know, like you hear like George Lucas like synonymous with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Jackson's probably one of the first directors when I was a wee kid. Like I heard of Peter Jackson. You know, like you watch movies and you don't really care about directors. You just like the action, like the movies. But I remember just Peter Jackson's name and just thinking like, wow, that was good. And then he's got these like special effects workshops and that, and they do a lot of work for other movies and stuff. And it's just, he's a really good.
What else did they do apart from Lord of the Rings?
You know, I think I watched a movie that he done before he did Lord of the Rings. I think it's called something like Black. I could be totally wrong with this, but I remember it. I thought it was him, and it was called Black Sheep, and it was about zombie sheep. And I'm pretty sure it was him, but I could be totally wrong with that. Just off the top of my head. And he seems like quite a cool character. I remember seeing a clip where, like the orc foot soldiers, he was trying to get like a chant sound effect for them because they're all like marching and chanting and stuff, like making like noises, like I can't even repeat it. I can't even do it because it wouldn't do it justice. But he went to like a cricket match and he had like the words he wanted on the screen and he got them all like pure rowdy and stuff and just started like getting them to chant and like stamp and march and stuff. And it was just really funny. So yeah, I like Peter Jackson a lot, but his movies for back in the day too, like they're really good. So Peter Jackson, number 9.
I was quite surprised you included that. I didn't realise you were as big a Lord of the Rings fan as that. Fun fact: he has a very brief cameo in Hot Fuzz. He gets stabbed through the hand. He was the Santa Claus in the very first montage.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me that ages ago. Yeah. That's right. I wouldn't say I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan. Like, I liked the movies back in the day. I went to see them in the cinemas. There was one day, like, I went with mum and dad to their friend's house, and all they had was Lord of the Rings DVDs. So I watched them all in one go, and I wanted to just cry like after it because it was just so like it was just too much for me. 9 hours of Lord of the Rings is not good in one go. So
I love the music from one of the Hobbit films. A couple of tracks. There's I can't remember, was it the Ed Sheeran one, I See Fire, or was that not in one of the Hobbit films? And
I think that was the Battle of Five Armies, wasn't it?
And there's the one that, Billy Boyd, one of the Hobbits, does. It's called The Last Goodbye or something like that.
Yeah. Did you not have that one in our soundtrack? Did somebody mention that in the soundtrack episode?
It was maybe me then, because I quite like the music in the Hobbit films.
Yeah. So, just in case, we did a soundtrack episode, just in case anybody's wondering, if you want to go back.
We're doing well with this here. Right, so my number 8, I went down a more kind of light-hearted route, and I focused on a comedy director, and this was one that came to my mind quite early, because the man is called Adam McKay, and he was the director of Anchorman 1, not 2. The Other Guys, Step Brothers. Actually, he was the director of Anchorman 2, but we'll just forget about that.
Oh, that he needs off that list.
No,
That's just too big a blemish to redeem himself.
he's staying on the list. Oh, and he also wrote the first Ant-Man. Didn't direct it, but he wrote it, apparently. So yeah, Anchorman is one of my favourite comedies, and Step Brothers is obviously a really good comedy as well. So I wanted some kind of comedy featured within it. And despite Anchorman 2's blemish, Anchorman 1 will always be one of my favourite comedies.
Yes, with great quotes such as "Great Odin's Raven." And
you put it in a refrigerator. I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Baxter. God bless Baxter.
So yeah, obviously a great collaborator with Will Ferrell. He was also involved. He was a producer on that show I mentioned a few times, Dead to Me, with Christina Applegate.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned that quite a few times. Yeah.
I've not actually went back and finished the third season, so I should probably do that at some point. But yeah, I think when I was thinking of directors, I was actually like, yeah, the name Adam McKay came to mind with his association with a lot of the Will Ferrell movies.
Yeah, because I remember you talking about him in one of the other episodes as well. I think you're talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, I can't remember anyway, but I remember you saying his name. And it's maybe because you co-wrote something with someone.
I think it was maybe when I was talking about Dead to Me.
It probably was. And you're saying he's quite a lot of stuff Will Ferrell.
Did we not do a comedy ranking as well at some point?
Probably. Right, that's the challenge. Let's see if we can get, how many episodes we've done? 79 or 70 odd. So if we can get 70 odd movie Seismic Cinema episode references, and so I think we're at 5 so far.
And a free giveaway to anyone who finds them all.
A free giveaway.
Yes.
Don't have anything to give away.
We do actually, because I'm currently reading a book called Vengeful Games by Jeff Menapace, who has kindly agreed to come on the podcast in a few weeks' time. So we're really looking forward to that.
So we're not really plugging old episodes, we're also plugging future episodes as well. So it's a really wild ride.
It's the multiverse. Right, so what was your number 8?
My number 8 is a pair of bros, and it is the Russo bros. So they had the unenviable task of directing Infinity War and Endgame and having to get it 100% right, otherwise it could have been a total disaster and killed the MCU probably. But they've done a cracking job. What's that?
It's done that itself now, I think, after Ant-Man 3.
No, there's always going to be dips and ups for the MCU. I think they've been working at such a high caliber. It's hard to kind of keep it everything at that high caliber. There's nothing. It's never going to stay like Endgame level the whole way through. Because do you remember like MCU when it first started? Like it had like Iron Man, which was great, and then it was just like Thor, Iron Man 2. What else was there? Was something else, and it wasn't that great. And then it has ups and downs. So Ant-Man, I wouldn't say it's that much of a down. It's just a wee bit not on the money, but it's okay.
I really didn't like it.
Yeah, and the Russo brothers also did like the Captain America films, which I quite like because they're usually kind of more grounded than the other films because it's not all magic and wizards and crazy powers. It's just somebody that's really strong. So then they use like conventional weapons and stuff.
Did one of my favourites, Civil War.
I do like Civil War. That was also one that was you'd have to get right because it was like introducing all these different characters as well. And you could have done it badly, but introduced Black Panther and Spider-Man.
And that airport scene.
Yes. Germany. And I think, is it right, the Russo brothers also direct quite a lot of Community? I love Community. I need to finish Community.
Was it me that got you into that, or had you already watched it?
I think you got me into it. Because when I first started watching it, I was like, this is quite No, it wasn't. It was quite serious, and then it just goes totally off the rails.
I might actually rewatch Q&A at some point because I think it'd be a fun rewatch.
Yeah, the paintball, just for the paintball episodes.
It's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's Halloween heists.
I've never seen them.
You never seen? Oh, yeah, you've not watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, have you?
No, I've only caught wee bits and pieces.
You should give it a go. It's worth the investment, I'd say.
After Rebels.
Yes.
Uh,
Can you watch Rebels for our 100th episode, please?
How long have I got for that?
30 weeks.
30 weeks. I should be able to do that.
if we're doing one a week. You've got that book series. You've got Bad Games by Jeff Menapace to read as well.
I know. I don't read too good. So, but anyway, yes. 8 is Russell Bros. So, what is your lucky number 11?
It's quite good. We're getting on to number 7 and we've not actually got any doublers yet.
That's true, yes.
Okay, so mine has a bit of just a bit like, maybe not as bad as Anchorman 2, but there is a blemish on the record. But there's also a lot of great stuff on this person's record. For example, the more modern Star Trek movies. I've never been a Star Trek fan, but I really enjoyed Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. I think, at least, well, I still like it, but I think you at first were a fan of Force Awakens in the first instance. He also directed a lot of Lost, and he just makes really fast-paced, action-filled movies. So I went for J.J. Abrams.
He likes a wee lens flare, does he not? That's his kind of signature, isn't it?
Yeah, but
especially in the Star Trek films. Everything's a lens flare.
I know. Like, I had absolutely no interest in Star Trek, and then I think I watched it just on like DVD. I think it was maybe when Blockbuster was still about, and I really enjoyed them. And I think like Rise of Skywalker is not a bad movie. It's a bad Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
but it's actually a pretty good film. And I think Force Awakens is a great sci-fi action movie as well. And
yeah,
a huge part of Lost as well.
Yeah, that's what I think. So, like sometimes I'm thinking about directors. I'm thinking like directors do like the whole package, whereas you can't blame a director if it's got poor writing or like just things like that. Like if it looks great, like see the sequel trilogy, like you're saying, like they look fantastic. It's just some of the writing doesn't make sense. It's just some of the stories don't make sense. But shot, they look really well. They look really good.
He also directed some episodes of The Office, or an episode of The Office.
What, the US one?
Yeah, Cocktails it's called.
Oh, good. That could be any one of them. But you should. Have you watched The Office? Oh, you started it, never watched it. Finished it, did you?
I watched quite a lot of it. Yeah, I'm just trying to see his other credits. He wrote and directed Mission Impossible 3. I've not seen that.
Cloverfield.
He actually wrote and directed Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker.
Alright, then it was his fault.
But I still personally really enjoy Force Awakens because I feel like it wasn't really Force Awakens' fault the way the trilogy went. I think if things had been clearer throughout, although I think the current Star Wars shows are trying to mend some of the sequel pains.
Yeah, I think see if Abrams had control of all 3 movies, or Rian Johnson had the control of all 3 movies instead of switching directors in between. I felt like Rise of Skywalker was just chasing, trying to fix things that happened in The Last Jedi, and like I don't know, it was just a mess. So
I don't think either of them are bad directors. I think, as you say, it just wasn't planned out very well.
Yeah, because like what if we watched Rian Johnson was Glass Onion and Knives Out and stuff, and it's really good. So like they are good directors.
Also, we have done a Star Wars movie ranking as well last May to celebrate May the 4th.
Well, that's another one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right, Paul, what's your number 7?
7. I have went for the old master, who has done such movies such as Shutter Island, which we've also done a pod on,
Featuring James.
featuring James, Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, The Irishman. So I went for Martin Scorsese.
Very nice. I love.
So I'd imagine. Sorry, on you go.
Just I love Shutter Island. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, it's class. Like those movies that Departed as well. Like they're all really shot really well, and like they're really compelling. I really wanted them higher up the list, but there's a lot of other ones up here that have got just movies that I enjoy more. I think maybe when it kind of ruined it for me, like for Scorsese, was I watched The Irishman, and I just didn't enjoy it, and I was just counting down the minutes till it ended, and it was 3 hours plus, I think, long, and
Too long
I
for me.
was so bored. Like the Batman, when we did the Batman, which was another one we did, like that 3 hours long, I could stand that because I always felt like there's something going on. The Irishman, I couldn't, and that just kind of spoiled it for me for Scorsese a wee bit. So that's why he's a bit far down the list for me.
I struggled a bit in the last half hour of the Batman, as you know.
Yeah, that was the best bit too.
Right, well, my number 6, a wee bit controversial, but maybe not as controversial. He was the director of a film called Looper, which I really enjoyed. I don't know if you've seen it.
Looper, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Big fans of the Nice Out and Glass Onion films, particularly Nice Out. And I'm going to take the hate that comes my way, but some issues notwithstanding, I do really enjoy The Last Jedi. I think it's actually a really well-made film. If you take out the slow space chase, I don't mind Canto Bight that much, but the stuff with Rey and Luke and Rey and Ren, particularly the fight with the Praetorian Guards, Luke's sacrifice, and that scene when he's looking at the two sons as he dies, and that kind of theme of hope. I generally, apart from the slow space chase and the bombs dropped at the start, Paul, I know what you're talking about. I went for Rian Johnson as my number 6.
Nice. Can we do a Last Jedi episode one day and just like absolutely destroy it?
Well, I'll defend it in a lot of ways. But
that'll be interesting then.
He is a very, you said it yourself, like literally 5 minutes ago, that he is a very talented director with the likes of Looper and Nice Out and Glass Onion, and he also directed some Breaking Bad episodes.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched Breaking Bad?
Mm-hmm. All of it, yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't know you did that. Should do one episode on that one day.
Yeah, we watched it. Me and Aileen binged it during like the first lockdown, I'm pretty sure.
Did he do 50 Shades of Grey, or am I thinking of something completely different?
I've never seen it. It doesn't sound like something he would have done.
Let's see.
If I'm honest.
Oh no, it was something. No. Oh, it was Sam Taylor Johnson, not Rian Johnson.
Just trying to see if there's anything else he's done. He's not actually done that many films, by the way. He's done a film called Brick, The Brothers Bloom, Looper, Last Jedi, Nice Out, Glass Onion. That's all he's done. But he's directed 3 episodes of Breaking Bad. He's not actually done, obviously he's done a lot more than I have in my life, but he's not actually done that much.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a TV series as well called Poker Face.
Yeah, I saw that on there as well. But I think, like, I feel like just the same as you were saying with J.J. Abrams, I think like Last Jedi suffers a bit just from the writing, the writing and progression of the trilogy as a whole.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like it's a really good looking film. Like see, like Canto Bight. Like see if it had any relevance to the story. Like it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hyperspace. what would you call it? Hyperspace, like ship ramming maneuver, the Holdo maneuver. Like that looks beautiful. Just was a bit weird, and like the whole space chase doesn't make sense. But you know, it's just like it's been done. But yes, like Knives Out, I really enjoyed. Glass Onion, really enjoyed. So yeah, it's just one of those things like you can't make bangers all the time.
Yeah, but he's definitely contributed positively in his few directorial credits. That one will definitely get a lot of hate. Oh, and we did a Knives Out review.
By the way, this is the Easter egg episode. This is the director's cut.
Okay, so what was your number 6?
My number 6 was. See if you know this one. So his credits include Alien, one of my favorite movies of all time, Black Hawk Down, Gladiator. It is Ridley Scott.
You didn't give me a chance to guess. I was going to say Ridley Scott.
All right, I will. And if you can hear slurping, that's my dog having water. Sorry. So yeah, he's done like loads of movies, but like
it's a lovely
Black Hawk Down. Sorry. Yeah, Black Hawk Down. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Can you just hear that just go through the whole?
That's fine.
God's sake, doggy, stop being so thirsty. Craig from It's a Script of like, yeah, I should got sleeping tablets for that dog. Yeah, so Black Hawk Down is one of my favorite movies of all time, and like it's one of these movies where there's just so many different perspectives, like, and to keep it so that you know, to keep a continuous story without like losing track of where everybody is, because like there's so many good actors in that. Like there must be about like 20 like Hollywood A-list actors in it. Like Ewan McGregor's in it, Tom Hardy's in it. What's his face that does the Jason Isaacs is in it, I think, was there?
Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah, he's in it. Sean Penn's in it.
I don't think I've seen it. You know that.
It's really good. It's one of these ones where you need to watch a couple of times because, like, first viewing it, you might get a wee bit lost just trying to figure out where it is because there's like 3 different kind of things happening at the same time. But yeah, it's really well shot. The action's amazing. Some of the effects in it, it's just so visceral. And then you've got ones like Gladiator, where it's just like grand. Music's great in it. It's just such a really nice shot movie. And then you get Alien. It's all very like contrasting movies. Like Alien's a sort of claustrophobic kind of sci-fi horror as well. So he's got a bit of range to him. So I went for number 6, Ridley Scott.
I've also been thinking, I hope Neil doesn't mind me using his name for the podcast, and I hope he remembers that we choose random screen names. It's actually a shout out because he was originally the one that was supposed to come on this when we were meant to do it ages ago.
Yeah, then we just decided to do it anyway and bin him.
Hope he doesn't sue us for using his name.
No, sue you, not me.
You need to edit it out. Right, so my number 5 will be a quick one because it's our first doubler. I went for the Russo brothers 2 because of Community and because they directed a lot of my favourite MCU films as well.
Yeah. How good's Community though? I just keep going back to Community. I love Community.
I think. Do you not think the kind of action of the Avengers films is what probably makes the paintball action episode so good?
Probably, yeah. You can see some similarities just to the dynamic, the dynamics of it.
I'm probably going to stick Community on tomorrow morning for work.
What did you prefer Endgame or Infinity War?
Infinity War. I didn't actually think Endgame was that. I obviously had the epicness, but the kind of time travel bit and just revisiting everywhere we've been before. I thought it was a wee bit kind of unoriginal in a sense.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a wee bit like Tony Stark
Back
solving time travel in a night,
Yeah,
as you do.
Well, we've done an MCU ranking before. The Infinity War, I think I put as my favourite.
I was wondering if you're going to plug that one.
I think we maybe did already, possibly. I don't know. So that was my number 5. What was your number 5?
My number 5 is the Master, or not the Master. I was going to say the Master of Horror, but he's got a few things. Includes Halloween.
Carpenter.
Correct, John Carpenter.
That was one of the ones I mentioned. I think in the future I might want to put on, but because I've not seen The Thing yet, I'm like, I've only really seen Halloween, so it's maybe not enough to put him in the top 10.
Yeah. Oh, please come into my house and watch it, because it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
When you have me over then?
You know, one day when I've tidied the house a wee bit. So yeah, so he's got Halloween, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little Chinatown. You know,
James's favourite film.
Just James's favourite film, yes. Just he does a lot, and like Halloween, like he did a lot of the movie like himself. Did the music and stuff, and had a vision for it. The Thing, I just don't. I can't describe it without spoiling the face. So it's just so good. When you watch it, you'll see, and then you'll understand that Mandalorian reference in the episode 2.
Yeah, you'll need to tell me. Like, was it to do one of the creatures?
When you see it, you see it. When you see it, you know.
No, you've mentioned it You've mentioned it a load of times, like when we did our movie ranking, maybe our theme ranking as well.
What, the music? Yeah. Oh, the thing. Yeah. I think it was in the villains as well. But no, he just does a lot of movies that I really enjoy. I think he's done it recently, but like, it's one of these ones you can always just go back and watch them and just think, wow, these movies are good. Like Halloween 1978, like you can probably never get bored of watching that, even though there's not much to it.
I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed watching the first Scream recently. And what was the other? I liked The Strangers as well.
Yeah, Strangers.
That was another one we did. And Halloween.
We didn't do The Strangers. We did Strangers with Sean and review it yourself.
Yes, yeah. And we had a Stu on for Halloween, didn't we?
Yep. We sure did. Stu, we love you.
Hope you're feeling good, feeling better. So your number 5 was...
My number 5 is John Carpenter.
My number 4, this is our second doubler. My number 4 was Martin, and I don't want to say the surname because I'll mess it up.
What, Scorsese?
Yes, I knew I'd mess it up. So just looking through, I've never actually... It's on Netflix, and I've been meaning to watch it, but I've not watched it yet. Taxi Driver, you seen that? I
haven't actually. Is it De Niro?
It's on I don't know, maybe. It's on yeah, it's De Niro. It's on Netflix, so you can go check that out. Cape Fear I've never actually seen, but it's referenced in my favourite ever Simpsons episode, the Sideshow Bob one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Paul, I've just totally spoiled it, but we should do like a favourite Simpsons episode ranking.
God, we have forever.
No, just pick 5 or 10.
I've not watched an episode in about like a new episode in probably about 10 years. So probably missed about 10 seasons.
Nah, but we could look at just the first like however many seasons. I absolutely love Wolf of Wall Street. Like it's one of, you mentioned earlier, films that are long but you enjoy the whole way through. Like doesn't feel like 3 hours when you're watching Wolf of Wall Street. It's very rewatchable. It's my favourite DiCaprio performance, and there's obviously a great cast with like Matthew McConaughey and the likes. Shutter Island, absolutely loved. I think I've seen The Departed, but I think I have seen it. I've got a feeling I've seen it. I've not seen The Irishman, but I don't really want to after your description, and it was sounded far too long for me. So
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a fun watch. I think it was up for awards too, but I just couldn't stand it at all.
we've mentioned it before, but as soon as something's like Oscar nominated, I lose interest. I'm like, nah, it's a no for me. Not always. Like, I've seen ones before. Like, did you ever see the one with when Eddie Redmayne played Stephen Hawking, the theory of everything? Like, there's some like, really good kind of Oscar winning films, but
Yeah, I kind of want to see some of the ones that won Oscars this year because I wanted to see that Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I've not seen that yet. So it must be pretty good if it won all those awards. But somebody was telling me today they watched 5 minutes of it, they didn't understand it, and turned it off.
But Paul, Black Panther won all these awards, and I don't know. I think you're in the same boat as me. I didn't really enjoy it that much.
Yeah, it's probably my least favourite MCU movies.
It's interesting.
It just wasn't that.
Hated Black Panther, and she hated Wall-E.
She hated Wall-E.
Mm.
Check to see if she has a soul.
I didn't really enjoy it either, but I think it was maybe because Alien hated it that much. Sometimes it just kind of rubs off on you.
You mean no tears were shed?
Nah, I preferred Coco.
I've not seen that.
Coco's great. Anyway, my 4 was Big Marto. So what's your 4?
Your 4 was Big Marto, and my 4, whose credits include Django, Inglourious Basterds,
Bleep.
Kill Bill, and one of your favourite films, Pulp Fiction. So went for
that song.
So who's the director, Colin?
It is Tarantino.
Tarantino. Yes, the movie magician himself. Yeah. Like, those movies I just round off, like, they're so clever, they're so funny, and they usually bring, like, something new to the table. Like Inglourious Basterds when you're watching it. See just that opening scene where it's like nothing's really happening. It's just like Christopher Waltz is interrogating a French farmer in his house for, I think it's like 10 minutes or something. Like it's something daft.
I've not actually seen that one, but I have seen Django, I have seen Pulp Fiction, I have seen Kill Bill. So I have seen quite a few of them. I haven't actually seen that one.
Oh, it's actually it's good. It's just like a kind of
it's a war.
It's a kind of alternate history of World War II, but it's got like so many different, like Michael Fassbender, Brad Pitt, just a couple of Christopher Waltz, I was saying. Yeah, it's really good cast and it's really quite quirky, but it's also quite brutal. Pulp Fiction, just a classic. Django, the action, that's brilliant. I love the team that Jamie Foxx and Christopher Waltz make, and like just the pure blood, the blood everywhere. It's just shot so good. And then Kill Bill, like the humor's on point. What was that called?
The casts, like you look at Pulp Fiction, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta, just
Uma Thurman.
I remember seeing Kill Bill years ago. It's just mental.
Yeah, the last bit of the Crazy Eights, and it goes on black and white, and she's taking on like 100 gangsters.
I think that's maybe the first Tarantino film I saw. Was the first Kill Bill.
I think that was the first one for me too. I just remember lots of legs and arms going flying everywhere in that final fight. But it's so good.
Yeah, definitely. Very good.
So we're into the top 3
automatic Champions League spots. Right, this one just had to be like, I think if you think of the phrase director, it would definitely be one of the first people that would come to mind. Like, he's just got such a massive back catalogue of films, which include Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, What else? I've never actually seen Ready Player One, but I've heard that's good. When you were talking about kind of war movies a second ago, it actually reminded me of a film, and I actually looked up who directed it, and luckily they were already on my list. I really loved another one we did, but I'm not just doing it for the plug. I really did enjoy Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
So it was
100%.
Spielberg, obviously. Who?
How was it? I think you're going to say Neil Boyle there.
They normally. What was I going to say? Can't remember. He sadly never directed a Star Wars film yet, but I think George Lucas tried to get him to do like one of the original trilogy. I'm sure.
But you're saying there's still time. There's still hope.
He's maybe a bit older now, but I feel like he's probably. Would you say he's maybe like the most prolific in terms of just absolute classics of all time?
Yes, I would say so. He's like you're saying, when you think of, as soon as it says director, you think Spielberg, I think. But I can't remember a movie of his coming out that wasn't amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there's been a couple like the BFG and stuff that didn't do too well, but I think it was actually, I've not seen it, but I've heard it's actually a pretty solid movie. It just didn't do well at the box office for whatever reason. I can't remember if it was during the pandemic or not. But yeah, when you list off the movies, like, there's such range in there. Like, Jaws is basically like a horror, kind of. Indiana Jones is just pure adventure. Jurassic Park, adventure. I'm pretty sure he did West Side Story this year.
Right.
So that's a musical, and that won awards.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he's had his like biographical that came out this year, The Fabelmans. I've not seen that, but I really want to see that because it'd be interesting to see where he kind of got his inspiration from. But yeah. He's like one. There's only a handful where I'd like, if you wanted, like if you had a movie and you wanted somebody to direct it, who would you have to do it? And like Spielberg would be one of the top ones up there.
And just to still be going at the age he's at, what is he now? 76. Like, I'm tired of 31. I
know, but to be fair, they just sit about and tell people what to do, don't they? Yeah, go over there. Hey, come on, sharpen up a wee bit. Come on.
If only it was that simple. So yeah, that was my number 3. What was your number 3?
My number 3 is The Master of Time. His movies include Inception, Tenet, The Dark Knight trilogy.
I thought you hated Tenet.
I didn't hate it. I just don't understand it. I don't think I ever will. But
I know who this is.
Hit me with it.
Christopher Nolan.
No, it's Zack Snyder.
It's not.
I'm kidding, Nolan. Yeah, Christopher Nolan. So he also did. It wasn't Looper. Was it Jumper? No, it wasn't Jumper. Actually, I'm telling lies about that one. Anyway, so like those movies I said, Inception, Tenet, The Dark Knight trilogy. I think he's got like some sort of fascination with time. I think his new movie Oppenheimer's got something to do with time as well. But to be able to film like some of the scenes they had in Inception still boggles my mind. And then they could like just visualize that and be able to like show it on the screen as much as they did. Have you seen Inception?
Yeah, I have seen Inception. I'm sure I've got it on DVD. Was that? That wasn't
The Dream Within a Dream Within a Dream.
That wasn't DiCaprio, was it? Was that Matt Damon?
It was DiCaprio.
What film am I thinking that Matt Damon's in? Maybe a similar vibe.
I don't know.
No, I have seen it. Even though I got the actor wrong, I have seen it.
Yeah, we should do one on that one day. Because it is brilliant. It's just, see, when I first watched it, I had no idea what the hell was going on. I was like, what? A dream within a dream within a dream?
I haven't watched it in years, but I have seen it.
Yeah. Tenet, like I was saying, like even though it's probably the most confusing film I've ever seen, like I think I need a PhD to understand what's going on, and I probably still wouldn't get it. But I see some of the scenes, like just have the imagination to visualize it and put it on a screen is crazy. Like there's a final, the final act is just something to be seen. Like just to watch it, like don't even understand it, just watch it, and you're like, wow, like this is crazy. And then like the Dark Knight trilogy, what can you say? Like it was fantastic. Bit of a ropey start with Batman Begins. Dark Knight was crazy good. Dark Knight Rises, bit better. Oh, it wasn't a bit better. It was like slightly not as good, but like all in all, like a fantastic trilogy.
It's because you
But
can't understand.
apparently, yeah, I think was it. I was listening to a podcast, the Diabolical podcast, and they were saying that Christopher Nolan had only signed up for 2 Dark Knight movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't realize they wanted to make a third. So when he made the second one, he thought that was it.
Yeah.
And then they wanted a third one, so he kind of had to make a third one, kind of thing, out of nothing.
Oh well.
But yeah, I really like his movies just because like the mind bending visuals.
Yeah. I've not really. Well, I have seen Inception and I've seen the Dark Knight trilogy. I haven't seen Tenet, but I've kind of been put off the notion by how confused you were by it. I would definitely be confused.
Like, see if you do watch it, just have somebody incredibly smart with you, because
You.
like I thought I was like, yes, this is great. This is like action. This is up my alley, and then I was just like, I don't understand what is going on.
Oh well. Right, we got into the top 2 because we've not done a ranking this long in a while. I'm actually getting quite tired now.
Oh God, wait an hour. Aye, okay.
I know.
Hurry up, run.
Number 2, I was severely let down in 2022 by this. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't the film for me, or maybe I just didn't quite get it. I don't think you actually saw it in the end. Anyway, the film was called, and we did look forward to it greatly. The film was called Nope. And it was a big nope for me because I just didn't get it. Did you see it in the end?
I didn't know. You put me off.
Anyway, Us was pretty good. Not as good as its predecessor, but pretty enjoyable horror. Pretty freaky. But this man is basically on this list because his directorial debut is one of my favorite films of all time, and I would happily watch it multiple times a year and still not get bored. My number 2 is Jordan Peele, the director of Get Out.
Good, solid pick. Yes, I do enjoy Jordan Peele's movies. Oh, actually, movies. I've only seen one of his movies. So I was just going to say, yeah, it's good at movies. I've only seen Get Out.
Have you not seen that? You borrowed us, did you not?
I did, but then we did a review and you explained it to me because I hadn't watched it.
Oh, is that the one Jordan came out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not Jordan Peele.
You should,
The other, other Jordan.
you should definitely check it out at some point.
Do you want to give us a DVD back when you drop that book off?
I can. Do you want me to?
Yes,
Or
yes.
Right. Remind me before I go to sleep.
Okay, will do.
Yeah. So yeah, we've done a review of Get Out, and there's just so much in that film to break down. It's just so clever with the double meanings and the kind of hidden themes and the big twist, and it's just pretty horrific as a pretty horrific concept, but such a great film. Like as I said, I would happily watch that like every couple of months, like 4 times a year. Do you know what I mean? Just
yeah, I did thoroughly enjoy Get Out when I rewatched it for the pod, and it's one of these ones you can go back and just see different things. Like you'll just keep catching the extra things you never noticed before.
I like the comment about there being black mold in the basement. He was actually talking about like the bodies of the people that were stealing the brains from.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
When the dad's giving a tour of the house at the start, he says there's black mold down there.
I see. A bit of underlying racism.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, so that was my number 2. So what was your number 2? I'm trying to think who you've not mentioned yet, but we'll see.
Right. I will say 2 words and you'll get it. Right. Quick Cut. Hello? All right. Aye.
All right.
See for anyone on Spotify just lifted his laptop up to a poster. I was just very confused what was going
on. I moved here because I've been sitting in the same position for ages, but as soon as I moved, I realised it was convenient that Shaun of the Dead was above my head.
Yes, so you'd be correct. Yes, I mean for Edgar Wright, and that's just because of a bit biased, but the Cornetto trilogy. What can I say? It's one of the best out there. They do. They're just great at the quick cuts. Like when you watch one of his movies, you can just tell it's one of his movies. Baby Driver.
Yes.
He always seems to have a good music choice through his movies. And he loves a bit of foreshadowing. Baby. What's that?
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. Oh, he do Scott Pilgrim as well?
Mm-hmm.
God damn. Some portfolio. But yeah, so quick cuts and foreshadowing, and I just love like the interconnectivity it gets within movies, just like references. Yeah. You know, that way it's just like so clever. So I think in the coming weeks we'll be doing all the different Cornetto trilogy movies. So really looking forward to those 3.
Did we say we're doing all 3?
No, we're not doing 3 different ones now.
Well, we're going to do Hot Fuzz with what's the script, Army?
Craig and Chris, yeah, that'd be good.
We'll see how we go from there. He also, there was an issue of creative differences in the end, but he was like a big influence on the writing and directing of the first Ant-Man as well.
Yeah, I did mention it, didn't I? In our Ant-Man in the Wasp episode. See when I'm editing this, I'm just going to go like, you get the counter, it goes ding every time we mention it.
I know. So that kind of leads into my first choice, which we didn't really discuss it, but I'm assuming you would have predicted that I would have put Edgar Wright first.
Yeah, I did think it'd be up there.
So Hot Fuzz is, I'd say Hot Fuzz, and it's hard because you get your saga films. Like I used to say my top 3 favorite films are A New Hope, Shaun of the Dead. No, not Shaun of the Dead. A New Hope, Hot Fuzz, and Get Out. Not in like that order, but like they maybe be like my top 3 if I was just to choose 3 films. But I've just got great affinity with particularly Hot Fuzz. I'd say Shaun of the Dead is actually one I've got the least connection with, because Hot Fuzz I found in like a kind of one of the kind of discount baskets in Blockbusters. I remember taking it home, and it was when Morrison's was still Summerfield, when you would have worked there. And there's obviously that big scene in the Summerfield, and I remember going down to Summerfield after watching it, and I was like, do you know sometimes when you watch a film for the first time and you love it, it's like you're like, I'll always remember the first time I watched this.
Yeah,
because I love like a murder mystery, and I love like the humor and the quick cuts, as we discussed. World's End, real personal connection, because when that came out, myself and a couple of our mutual friends, we went out and did a World's End pub crawl in our local town. We went to every pub for a drink in each one.
So, did you not dress as Shaun as well?
I wore a white shirt with a red tie like Shaun, and Mikey wore a big black jacket like Gary King in World's End. Chris just turned up.
This was Chris.
Yeah. He should have went as Nicholas Angel. But yeah.
Sergeant Nicholas Angel.
It's not just that. We're both big fans of Scott Pilgrim as well, and Baby Driver we both absolutely love. So yeah, I think Edgar Wright is a well-deserved #1 spot, because this is our favorite, not necessarily like great. I think this is the greatest all-time you'd have Spielberg #1. A bit boring, isn't
it? Yeah, it'd be totally boring.
Unless you have Spielberg #1, then that's not boring.
Yeah, Spielberg is my #1. That's total anti-climax. I'd be bored if Spielberg was your #1. Oh, sorry.
Because I'd mentioned it, I forgot you hadn't mentioned it.
Yeah. So basically, like you're saying, like every movie ever he did was like almost pioneering kind of thing. Like that Jaws with the mechanical shark was like a pioneering moment for that kind of movie. The creature feature, Jurassic Park, for back in the 90s, man. The effects were brilliant. Story was brilliant. Indiana Jones is just every adventurer's dream. Except for the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, that was a bit whiffy. And like you're saying, Ready Player One. I quite liked Ready Player One, but I think the book was better, I heard. I think Kaylee mentioned it actually when she was on.
I was going to say, did you read the book?
I didn't read the book. I'm sure Haley mentioned it when she was on. But yeah, like I think everything except from Ready Player One I've ever watched has just been absolute. E.T. as well. I did E.T. Just said he did West Side Story. He's got such range to him, and I think if you were to have anyone, like, see if I was making a movie and I wanted it done well, I think I'd pick Spielberg, like, over everyone, just because he's got such pedigree. Saving Private Ryan, like, hell of a movie, absolute hell of a movie, and like such a hard list. Like, see, probably between the top three, like Spielberg, Edgar Wright, Nolan, I could probably change them about if I just thought, like, I started thinking about a movie and like, I love this movie kind of thing.
Do you think Edgar Wright's is regarded worldwide as he is within like our friend group? Because like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard because he doesn't have like, well, I don't know, because he's got those 5 movies that we're talking about, and then I can't really think what he's got other than that. I think he did one like Midnight in Soho or something. Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
But I never watched that. And I've never really seen him do anything apart from those 5 movies, and they're quite similar. Not similar, and like just in the humour and the foreshadowing kind of thing.
We did Spaced as well.
I never watched Spaced.
Oh, do you want to borrow my box set, Brian?
No, it's fine. I don't think I'd be able to watch that.
How come?
Because I would need to get Scarlett to watch it, and she hates watching British TV.
No comment.
But yeah, Spielberg is numero uno for me.
Right. Don't always do this nowadays, but I'm very quickly just going to flick through some honourable mentions. The maker himself, I felt bad not putting George Lucas on the list, but he's obviously been, maybe the prequels in a lot of ways weren't the best directed, but he did direct A New Hope, which is probably my favourite film of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Kubrick gets a shout out for The Shining.
Yep.
Which I absolutely loved. Tarantino is one of my honourable mentions. Like, I do enjoy the films, but maybe just not my personal favourites. But some really good films. Pulp Fiction, yeah, I really love that. I put John Watts in because he's like the kind of up and coming MCU guy with like No Way Home, things like that.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau, he was one that I really did want to put on the list, with obviously Elf and Iron Man 1 and a lot of the Mandalorian episodes. I'd like to put him in. There's one called, I can't read it, Jean Colette, something, I can't actually read it at all, but basically what's the word I'm looking for? Worked with Liam Neeson on both Taken and Unknown. That was the director of both those films, which I really liked. John Lascelles, I can't read my writing, directed both of the first two Toy Stories. I thought that was worthy of a shout out for the that genre. Guy Ritchie's on my list. Sean Levy directed Free Guy and
Deadpool,
The Internship, and Deadpool apparently as well. Greg Mortola directed Paul and Superbad.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I didn't realise he did Superbad as well.
I didn't know all this either. I was looking it up. Phil Lord and Chris Miller I put in because I love the Jump Street movies. Todd Phillips for the Hangover movies.
Okay. Yeah, by the way, have you got a big massive list? Because I remember we were sitting here for about half an hour while you were still compiling this list.
I'm almost done. John Carpenter, because I really did enjoy Halloween. Wes Craven, because I enjoyed Scream. Dave Filoni for all his work, and he's the director of the animated shows, and he's done a lot of work on The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Bryce Dallas Howard for similar reasons. She's directed some great episodes of Mando and The Book of Boba Fett. Taika Waititi's done some good stuff with Marvel and the Star Wars as well. Peyton Reed's done a lot of the Ant-Man films and a lot of the good Mandalorian episodes. Alfonso Cuarón directed Prisoner of Azkaban, which was a real contrast to the earlier films, very creative film. I actually put one called Owen Harris, who directed San Junipero and Be Right Back, two of the strongest Black Mirror episodes. James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy. James Cameron for Aliens and Titanic. Kenneth Branagh, because I love the Death in the Nile and Murder at the Orient Express films. Christopher Nolan and Ridley Scott.
Jesus Christ, that's all of the honourable mentions.
It's because I went through my movie suggestions for the movie ranking, so I just kind of pulled out the directors from that, plus some of my favourite shows.
What the hell? Right, okay. Well, my special mentions, honourable mentions are M. Night Shyamalan. I like his movies just because they got a wee twist in them, but they're generally not that great. So, like, some of the twists are interesting. I quite like his Knock at the Cabin. Latest one, so it's probably a bit of a recent bias that I've put him in the honourable mentions. George Lucas, the original. Stanley Kubrick, like we were saying. Probably Alfred Hitchcock as well. I think he was quite pioneering back in the day for directing, but I've not seen enough of his movies to be able to justify picking them. Can't remember, and Psycho and stuff. Paul Greengrass, he does a lot of like Matt Damon movies. Green Zone, I can't remember if there's like the Bourne movies as well, possibly. And if I'd read the brief properly and did it for TV series as well, I probably added Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau as well, because I love the Clone Wars, loving the Mandalorian so far, and like some episodes of the Mandalorian, like Rick Furuyama, I can't remember how you say it. And Deborah Chow and stuff. So yeah, it's quite a lot of good, talented directors in the Mandalorian pool. But yeah, that's my honourable mentions.
Very good, very nice. So I think it's about time we start running to a close. But before we do so, I actually remembered a wee bit earlier this week to put a wee message on Twitter to see what some of our fellow podcasters had put as their favourite directors.
I've seen that. Well done.
I don't know if there's maybe been a few extra ones since we've been doing this. So James, who we've mentioned a few times, mentioned Martin Scorsese and Christopher Nolan are up there for him. His mind changes each day on who's better, but then he decided Big Marto was the one.
I like you not reading the tweet word for word and just try to change it so it sounds like he is, instead of just saying, my mind changes each day on who's better.
I know, I was just trying to not just read it word for word.
Why not?
Taproom Tabs put John Carpenter, Quentin Tarantino, Guillermo del Toro, Edgar Wright,
Guillermo, come on, get the accent. Guillermo.
Edgar Wright, Mel Brooks, and Steven Spielberg. What's the script? Put Tarantino, Spielberg, Scorsese, Carpenter, Ridley Scott, Christopher Nolan, and Clint Eastwood. And the Grey's Taproom podcast put Tarantino, James Wan, Richard Donner, Steven Spielberg, and Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, he's a good director, but he just can't write for anything. Especially when he tries to write a movie, it's terrible. It looks cool, but it doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying about Zack Snyder. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, well. So just in terms of what we've got coming up, you're going on with Tallboy Radio next week to discuss favourite sequel movies?
Yes, I am. Representing the pod. So we'll see what happens. Could be great, could be terrible. I'll just won't have you there to steer me in the right direction.
I'm sure you'll do a good job. And the following week, What's the Script are going to join us to review Hot Fuzz. Then the week after, we've hopefully got Jeff Menapace, who I mentioned at the start, who's written a great horror book called Bad Games and the sequel Vengeful Games, amongst others, hopefully coming on. And we're hoping to team up with Moisture Farm Report to review Bad Batch Season 2.
Yes, looking forward to that, definitely.
I think we need to sit down and plan out kind of April and May properly. With a chance.
Do you want me to give you a sneak preview of the PK's picks for Saturday?
Okay.
So this week I've been listening to The Geeky Dad. Him and the kids were reviewing Black Adam. It's a bit of an older one for them, but I've not actually caught any of this for ages. See this new Twitter algorithm, I barely see any of the stuff anymore. It's just hard to keep track of everyone now.
Usually it's the same in terms of notifications.
Yeah, like see all the people that used to talk to them, they don't see any of their stuff anymore. So I was like, went back, watched some of his stuff. So him and the kids tear Black Adam to shreds. So that's quite good. And they, like James Gunn, like rebooted the DC. He was just breaking the news to them in that episode, and they were just like, "What?" The kids were like, "No." I was listening to Stu World Order, and they had a couple of the boys from the So Wizard podcast on. They were doing Bloodshot. It's a comic book movie, but it's got Vin Diesel in it. So you can imagine how good that is. And it's Vin Diesel just playing Vin Diesel. It's not him doing a CGI character, so it's even better. The boys from Moisture Farm Report, like we were saying, they were doing an episode in Star Wars timekeeping.
I listened to that.
Did you?
Yeah, I listened to that today.
See the Bad Batch episode in their post? Did they mention months? Because I remember, I think it was Captain Commander Mayday saying something about they'd waited months on gear coming, and I was like, do they have months in Star Wars?
It really isn't something I'd thought about before. I was familiar with the ABY and BBY and things like that.
Yeah, it's just when he said it, I was like, oh, I forgot that. And then Moisture Farm Report brought out this podcast, and I was speaking to James about it, and he was like, I was totally by coincidence, like, who didn't know about it? Action Movie Book Club, Hans and JP, they were doing John Wick 2.
I need to watch 2 and 3 before 4 comes out.
Yeah, I need to. It'll be good. You'll enjoy it. The Sons and Shadows podcast, they were doing Krampus. Just thought I'd go back and see some of their stuff. Good, nice wee Christmas horror. And I was listening to the Infinity Bros today as well. Episode 157 and 158 are talking about The Mandalorian episode 1 and season 3 episode 1 and season 3 episode 2 plus The Last of Us episode 8, I think they were talking about. So yeah, I was just getting through quite a lot this week. Just been driving a lot.
Well,
so that's the sneak preview. There might be more to come.
Very good. Right, we're almost at an hour and a half, and I'm absolutely shattered. So I say we round
Is it
up.
past midnight now?
I know I need to get to my bed. Right, so just before we sign off, just a reminder, we're Seismic Cinema. You can get us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Seismic Cinema. So please like, follow, share, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Pods, Google Pods, Anchor, or now what's it called? Podcast, Spotify, podcast for Spotify. What's the Anchor changed its name to?
I don't know.
Spotify for podcasters. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue. So yeah, make sure you listen in. Make sure you subscribe, follow, like, share, retweet, all the good stuff, and help us continue to grow the pod. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes we've got coming up.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be line up. It's changed. It's changed dramatically from the plan we had.
I know, but a good plan is always subject to change or something along those lines.
Like good directors do, who can just cut things out and add things in.
Yes, it's a shame they can't cut us out. Yeah, this was originally supposed to be a review of Scream 6 and Creed 3, but I'm glad we finally got around to doing the director's ranking, because it was one that we wanted to do ages ago and we just never got around to. So
yeah, no, definitely. I was quite enjoyed doing the wee ranking as well. I've not done one in a while, so yeah, it's good to get back to it.
I love how a wee ranking is an hour and 30 minutes.
I know. I remember used to push through rankings, it'd be like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and they were like an hour and a half, and we're like still blethering on. Like, what the hell?
I think we always say 5 would be better, but I feel like a top 5 is very restricted. But
yeah. Imagine how long it'd take you to do a top 5.
I know. Right. Well, just before we go, Paul, can you remind our listeners and viewers what our slogan is? I did mention it at the start, but can you remind people what it was?
The power of editing out two idiots talking about films. But kind of do that today, so I couldn't even think of it what to say, so there we go. Sorry, bud. Back to you.
That was your worst one yet.
I know, I was trying to think, and I was like, what's funny about directors? And I was like, I couldn't think.
Anyway, we believe in the power of escapism, and we hope you've enjoyed escaping for a wee bit with us. So,
yeah,
cheers.
Thank you for listening, and have a good one.